Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course, the Diamond K Show, the DiamondKShow.com, onfiretelevision.com. A lot of things going on, a lot of things to get into. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. So as this Jada, Will, Chris Rock saga continues to unfold, obviously we're going to be talking about this for the next probably a couple days. I can't see this story going on longer than that, but I was talking to my father about this, and he is having fatigue. He's having Will and Jada fatigue, and I told him that I think that this debacle has been a good opportunity for us to have some discussions as a collective, as a society, on topics that have not been touched on, right? Every guy does not know how to be a man. Every guy wasn't taught how to be a man. Some stuff you just had to pick up along the way, and a lot of us did not pick up the necessary stuff. So what am I talking about? Protecting your woman, protecting your loved one, protecting your spouse, how to handle yourself when you are upset, when you're in situations. There are a lot of people that are in jail or in the grave because of perceived disrespect and how they handled it, right? So in the heat of a moment, you may have gotten up and smacked somebody or punched somebody, and then that person shot you, killed you, and they go to jail and you're dead, right? If this had happened in the streets, in a lot of instances, a taller guy smacking up a smaller guy, that guy going to get a gun. In this generation, that's how it happens. And so this situation, which does not have those type of repercussions, of course, Will Smith, nothing's going to really happen to Will Smith, right? Nothing's really going to happen to Chris Rock. They're going to make more money, right? But what about the folks that are imitating this type of behavior that are not going to have those luxuries? That's why I think that this situation has been a teachable moment, the opportunity for a teachable moment. Talking about Will Smith, Jada Pinkett Smith, Chris Rock, the Oscars. And the Oscars, speaking of the Oscars they've been lying on Will Smith, trying to throw Will Smith under the bus. I mean, he's already under the bus, right? They ain't got to back the bus over him, but they're trying to keep their hands clean. Jada Pinkett Smith posted a message on Instagram earlier this week, and it was the first since Will smacked Chris Rock, right? And she says that this is the season for healing, and I'm here for it. That is what she said. So we talked about this yesterday. A lot of folks thinking that the G.I. Jane 2 reference was not negative because the character is strong and portrayed as strong. And anybody that remembers G.I. Jane, it is a lady, a strong lady in the military, portrayed by Demi Moore, shaved her head, obviously, for that. But as I've said, it was not thrown at her as a sign of strength or weakness. It was strictly on the haircut. That's why he said it. So apologies. Will Smith issued an apology to Chris Rock via social media, and Chris Rock issued his apology via social media. And I do like the fact that apologies have been put out there. I do like that. You can, as friends, get into an argument. As friends, you can have disagreements. As friends, things can get physical, but you can move past that. That's the real message that I want to see here. And things don't have to automatically get physical. But there's a lot going on. A lot going on here. So the Oscars, right? Big, Academy, 90-some years. They've been putting it down. This is the gold standard for movies. This is what people want. When they're in the movies, This is the recognition from this body is what one of the big things that they want. And the Academy lied about asking Will Smith to leave, according to sources. Why would they do this? Why would they lie on Will Smith? He's already smacked somebody in the face on their stage, right? Is there a need for them to lie? From their perspective. Now, Will Smith, the backlash, first of all, they embraced him after that. He got the standing ovation after smacking the host on that stage. They gave him the award, which he knew he was going to get anyway, right? Otherwise, he probably wouldn't have been there, wouldn't have been there on the front row. But Will Smith was never asked to leave the Oscars after he slapped Chris Rock. Let me say this again. Will Smith was never asked to leave the Oscars after he slapped Chris Rock. In fact, the opposite is true. He was told by the producer of the show that he could stay, according to sources. So the Oscars putting out there that they wanted him to leave and he was on some gangster stuff and he refused to leave, right? They trying to put that out there to protect themselves. It's not like they looking out for anybody other than the Academy. The Academy. Of course, as you know by now, the Oscars, the Academy said Wednesday that they asked Will to leave the Dolby Theater after the slap, but he refused. He said, parents just don't understand and the Oscars just don't understand. I'm not going nowhere. No, he didn't say that. We're not going to completely change this guy's image, are we? Right? He did not say that. And I think that many folks saw through that in the beginning when the Oscars tried to put that out there. A lot of people saw through that. A lot of people saw through it. I saw through it. And many other people saw through it as well. So three sources who were at the ceremony. Three sources at the ceremony who witnessed various conversations. And they are saying, yes, after the slap, the Academy officials were backstage with Will Smith's representatives, and there were heated conversations about what had occurred. Heated conversations between the Academy officials and Will Smith's team. We can expect this. All right. Will Smith's team is mad, like y'all let this host come on your stage and say these things. And the Academy is like, I can't believe that your client would run up on the stage like he did. We are told that there was a split among the officials. Some did want him booted. Some did want him to leave, but others did not. Now, Will Packer, his production team, was in charge of what we saw. He did say this was going to be an event that we didn't want to miss. It was going to be a good event. However, the ratings, while higher than last year's, are still, the lowest that the show has ever seen. Now, when we say low ratings for the Academy Awards, for the Oscars, it wasn't bad ratings. It was just bad ratings for the Oscars. There are a lot of other shows that would have loved the ratings that this show got. Now, social media was on fire about this. A lot of people didn't actually see the show, but they were on fire. So there were various discussions during several commercial breaks, but there was never any consensus reached about Will Smith leaving. So the Oscars are putting this out there now, trying to act like Will Smith just came, slapped the host, and just, took over the show and refused to do anything, put his feet up on the stage and just refused to leave. If that was the case, they would have got him, and they wanted him out of there, they would have got him up out of there, right? If that's what they wanted. Now, the word on the street is that Will was aware there was talk about asking him to leave the theater. During one of the commercial breaks, allegedly, Oscar producer Will Packer came up to Will and said, "We don't want you to leave." There are photos of them conversing. Will Packer told Will Smith, "We don't want you to leave." He's the producer of the show. This probably happened. So maybe Will was feeling like, look, they want me to leave. You know what I mean? I don't know. But he didn't leave. And Will Packer walked up to Will Smith just after 8 p.m., around 35 minutes after the slap. About 35 minutes after that, that's when we told Will he could stay, according to sources. Will won the Best Actor award 5 minutes later. Of course, they didn't want him to leave then. You know how crazy that would have been? It is interesting that the Academy's first statement about the incident never even mentioned Will Smith by name. As the day went on and the outrage grew and you saw social media chatter escalate, it became even more aggressive. And the Academy started to, go in on Will Smith, saying that he took an aggressive stance and refused to leave the show. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but these are all lies. They never said to Will Smith, leave the show. So the Academy is lying on him, trying to further tarnish the image that he already tarnished. Speaking of tarnish, we've seen video of, Jada's reaction to the smack, which she was tickled by it. She was happy that her man stood up for her. Of course, if you want to call into the show, you can do that. The link is in the description. You can join the show. You can have your camera on or have your camera off if you want to comment on the Will, Jada, Chris Rock thing or any of our other topics or any other topic. You can always do that. As I said, in the description, you can join the show very easy. Have your camera on or have your camera off. Does not make a difference to me. Of course, this is the John McKay Show. OnFireTelevision.com. New time, 6 p.m. weekdays. You can check us out live, 6 p.m. or on demand. Now, I do got to say this. The legendary Lifestyle Cafe is a community-based wellness space driven by local business partnerships and provides health-conscious food and products. They are located at 1301 North Broadway in Baltimore. 1301 North Broadway in Baltimore. Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is open from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. They have plant-based food, cold pressed juice, wellness products like sage, crystals, organic loose herbs, and much more. They have apparel. There's plenty of educational resources. If you need a space to meet or to work, they have Wi-Fi available. So all of my folks that like to do business, Legendary Lifestyle Cafe is one of those spots that you can go to for this. They have delivery available. Tap in on all social media, Legendary Lifestyle Cafe, or visit them online, legendarylifestylecafe.com. So that is, the whole lying of the Oscars, switching of the narrative, trying to paint Will Smith as this aggressive, aggressive thug. But the Academy never considered forcibly removing the actor after that. So Chris Rock is on tour. He's going to, he's going to have folks' eyes on him. They're going to hope that he comments about this stuff. They're going to hope that he has something to say about this. I don't think that he will say anything for quite a while. It is still fresh. It is still raw. And there's no need for him to say anything about him. I don't think so. I think that he just needs to kind of lay low and go back to doing what he was doing before, when that is being a marketable entertainer, comedian, and he needs to put this thing behind him. Now, Jada I think in many instances, depending on who you ask, she's the villain in all this. A lot of people think that she's the one that put him up to it. How many times have we seen a guy, maybe mentally not as strong, allow himself to feel inferior and step outside of his character to impress, protect a lady? Plenty of times I've seen that. And this is one of those incidents. So some people are going to look at this and see Will Smith and feel that he's being taken advantage of, his mental health, and but this all translates to Jada being the villain. Depending on who you ask, Chris Rock is the villain for insinuating or insulting a black woman on stage at this, mainstream event. Some people are going to say that Will Smith is the villain because he could not control himself and lowered himself to violence. This is a 53-year-old man on stage. And, so depending on where you sit with all of this, you have a lot of different avenues that you can go down. And speaking of avenues, we have some discussion to have about Baltimore's state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, and her upcoming trial and some of her political opponents and all of that. So do this, take a quick break and come back with more of the Diamond K Show right after this on firetelevision.com. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Your man Diamond K in here. Of course, the Diamond K Show on firetelevision.com. Baltimore's state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, she is, she has been a controversial figure. I don't think she set out to be controversial, but she has moved against the grain. She has made some enemies. And she's made some enemies in some high places. And when you do things like that, when you make enemies in high places, that can cause backlash. A lot of black politicians in the city of Baltimore have made some enemies, faced backlash, and unfortunately for some, it's landed them in jail. And that is exactly where opponents of the current state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, that's where they want her to go. I don't think she's going there. I don't. But she is facing a trial. She is in the midst of a re-election campaign. She has, Marilyn Mosby, asked to postpone the trial that she is facing until September. That goes kind of, she's, pulling back on, just doing a reversal on what she initially said about this case. Initially, she wanted to move forward and get this thing done before the election. The election has been postponed, and she wants to push this trial back till after the election. So according to documents, WBAL obtained these documents. The state's attorney, Marilyn Mosby, is asking for her pending trial to be pushed back until September. As I said, this is a reversal from the earlier statement. She said she wanted to get a quick trial. She wanted it done. She wanted it over with because she is innocent. In February, she said, what I'm asking for is that I be tried right now because I know I'm innocent. And I don't understand the strategy here, because the longer this goes on, especially through this election, it's going to be a tough election. And it's going to be a tough campaign. So her wanting to push this back, it gives her opponents ammunition. I have no idea why she wants to push this back, other than, just want to focus on the re-election and then worry about that. I guess that That's what the strategy is here. Prosecutors are opposed to the state's attorney's new request to move the trial from May to September. The prosecution responded with, "This is a problem of the defense's own making." So, of course, they don't want to push it back. They know that it's going to be very difficult for her to handle this trial and run for re-election, and they want her to be unsuccessful in both. So Mosby was indicted by a federal grand jury on charges of perjury related to a COVID-19 financial hardship withdrawal and a false statement on a loan application, and her trial was set to start on May the 2nd. So this financial withdrawal, this COVID-19 hardship withdrawal, was of her own money. This is not the citizens of Baltimore's money. This is her money. But for whatever reason, you have these opponents focused on this. How dare she get her money early? You know how the commercial is. It's my money and I want it now. That's what she said. And they like, no, you should not be able to have your money. You should not be able to even have a business. Although the governor of Maryland has so many businesses and does so much shady business, but this black state's attorney, how dare you have a business? How dare you? And as frequently is the case, they want to put her in her place. All right. So Mosby's attorney is A. Scott Bolden, and he alleges that the U.S. Attorney's Office is engaged in a rolling production, which does not allow his client enough time to start trial in May. On March the 11th, the government, filed documents saying that the court should deny Mosby's request to have the charges dropped. She has not filed for re-election, but September would be after the primary. And the other thing is that she'll have the election in her rearview mirror. It would just make it easier for her. Easier on a lot of fronts. So she has maintained her innocence. And she said initially that I wanted the people of Baltimore to hear it from me. I did nothing wrong, she said. I did not defraud anyone to take my money from my retirement savings, and I did not lie on any mortgage application. All right. A conference will be held on Tuesday to discuss Mosby's motion for a continuance and the schedule for pre-trial proceedings. The judge must rule on Mosby's motion to postpone her trial. So do you think that Marilyn Mosby should be allowed to postpone the trial? Do you think that she's going to run for re-election? As I said, she has not filed yet. Many candidates wait until the end to officially file, but they go through the motions. But once they file, the scrutiny is there. The Elections Commission is going to focus in on your paperwork and your money and a lot of different things. So that scrutiny starts once you officially file that paperwork. She has not done that yet. That does not mean that she's not running, because she's moving like an incumbent who wants to stay in her job. That's how she's moving out here in these streets. So I think that she will run, and I think that she will become reelected. But that is not solely up to me. That is up to the citizens of Baltimore to decide. And I definitely think that this is going to be a difficult race. It's going to probably be the most difficult race that she's been involved in thus far. And we're going to be following that and covering that here on the Diamond K Show at On Fire Television, onfiretelevision.com, the DiamondKShow.com. So let's take a quick break, come back, and we'll talk about one of her opponents and the endorsement, the unlikely endorsement or likely endorsement, depending on how you look at it, that one of her opponents has received in this race. It's the Diamond K Show. Stay tuned. We'll be back after this. Welcome back. Welcome back. You made Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show, onfiretelevision.com, the diamondkshow.com. So, Republican governor who is on his way out, what you call a lame duck governor, Larry Hogan, has endorsed Thiru Vignarajah for Baltimore City's state's attorney. So it is not often that you have that, but the governor yesterday endorsed Mr. Vignarajah to take Marilyn Mosby's job. I'm going to say that on some instances, one instance I'm surprised, but one instance I'm not really surprised. A Republican is not going to win this particular seat, right? So you have some folks who operate as a Democrat in name only. You've heard that, Dino. And then they have the expression called a rhino, a Republican in name only. So someone will be in a certain political party because of where they live, and understand that you have to have, depending on where you live, the D behind your name or the R behind your name. But that doesn't mean that you're going to operate as a true Democrat or a true Republican. It just means that you understand the rules based on where you are campaigning and where you live, and you are operating accordingly. All right. So I think for all intents and purposes, Thiru is more a Republican than a Democrat. All right. And I've interviewed him, on several occasions. And he's a nice guy. I don't like the association with Larry Hogan, but then on the other hand, Mr. Vignarajah is probably thinking, "Oh, I can't turn down any endorsement of that caliber." And we know that Larry Hogan is not a fan of Marilyn Mosby. I don't think I've seen a black Baltimore politician that he is a fan of. But Thiru Vignarajah posted on his social media that he is honored to have the endorsement of Governor Hogan. He knows that without leadership at the local level, the fight against violent crime is infinitely harder than it needs to be. That's what he said. And Governor Hogan said this about Thiru Vignarajah. Thiru Vignarajah will restore trust, hold violent criminals accountable, and make our streets safer. He has the experience, integrity, and unwavering commitment to get the job done. I am proud to endorse Thiru's candidacy for Baltimore City State's Attorney. That is Maryland's Governor Larry Hogan. Like I said, I am not totally surprised by that. Thiru Vignarajah has a long-standing relationship with Fox 45 in Baltimore. And quite honestly, I think that Fox 45 in Baltimore, I think that broadcast, that station is more harmful than Fox News, the national brand. Fox 45 in Baltimore targets black politicians and tries to tear them down at every step of the way. If it's a black teacher, they're going to try to tear them down every step of the way. If there is some crime that happens in Baltimore, they are going to super focus on it, especially if it's a black person involved. and they're going to super focus on it. And then when they talk to somebody, Fox 45, when they talk to somebody on camera, they want to speak with the person who is the least ready to be on camera because they want to portray Black people in a certain light. That's what I dislike about Fox 45 in Baltimore. And the Fox affiliate, wherever you may live, could be different from them. So I don't know. And I've seen the Fox affiliates in many states, many cities. But I'm talking specifically about Fox 45 in Baltimore. If you live in Baltimore, you know what I'm talking about. They will talk incessantly about crime in Baltimore, what they call black on black crime, right? For the last, I don't know, over a month, all we've been seeing in national news is white on white crime, Russians and Ukrainians, right? It's covered differently, right? The amount of killing and shooting and the war that's going on in Ukraine, much worse than what's happening in Chicago by terms of the bombs and the people having to be relocated and all that. But you would think Chicago's worse than Ukraine, the way that it's talked about nationally. So that's my problem with Thiru's association with Fox 45. And I understand he's playing the media game. And I am definitely extending an invitation to him. He's been on the program before. And I am hoping to sit down and talk with him again about his candidacy for Baltimore City State's attorney, about his association with Fox 45. I thought he was going to be a commentator over there. He was on Fox 45's airwaves so much. And Fox 45 is not a friend of Baltimore City. Not for real. They may portray like they are, but they're not really. Does Fox 45 ever have any solutions? No. They only tear down Black people. Yes, I understand what you may be thinking this. There's some Black people that work at Fox 45, and that's true, and they're there to get a check. Right? They're there to get a check. And what are you willing to do for said check? Right? That is the question. But Thiru Vignarajah, as I said, has been on the Diamond K Show before on more than one occasion, and I am extending the invitation to him again to come back here, talk about why he feels that he is ready to have Marilyn Mosby's job, and what he plans to do differently if he gets in that role. So speaking of that role, we're going to take a quick break and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about Maryland's congressional district map. We talked about the election being pushed back. This is one of the reasons, the main reason why the election in Maryland is being postponed. And let's do this. Let's take a quick break and come back with more of the show after this. This is the Diamond K Show on FireTelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. And we are back. Your man Diamond K in here, of course. The Diamond K Show on FireTelevision.com, thediamondkshow.com. So the issue of Maryland's congressional district map is back in court, right? And this has been an ongoing fight. Republicans, Democrats can't get along, can't agree on this map. So the latest hearing was today and was strictly on the new map that lawmakers approved this week. So when you talk about the map, some people may wonder, what's this map? What do they mean, right? And I guess we can. There is a congressional drawing, a makeup of the area. Now there was a 2-hour, hearing, which presented some evidence on the map. And the judge said that she would not rule on the merits. Now, the ruling from last week threw out an old map That's being appealed. And this is all about control, gerrymandering, control, right? So the judge heard from experts who said that the new map is more compact and addressed her concerns in her decision last week. And there's a whole bunch of legal mumbo jumbo and back and forth about that. Some of the plaintiff's attorneys question why a part of Baltimore City went from the heavily Democratic 7th district into the Republican 2nd district. So what is this fight about? If we can talk about this in, I don't know, in plain layman's terms, what are they fighting about? Here is essentially what the problem is. So you have two sides fussing about this ruling, fussing about this map. At the heart of the matter is gerrymandering. What is gerrymandering? Gerrymandering is the act of manipulating the boundaries of an electoral constituency. So that's going to either favor the Democrats or favor the Republicans. So in a Democratic control area, the Republicans are going to be saying, oh, you're trying to draw the map to favor you. And in a Republican area, the Democrats are going to be saying the exact opposite. All right. So that's what we're talking about here. And ever so often, they get to redraw the map. And what that does is if you draw the map in a certain way, you can get more Democrats or Republicans elected. So they have this Republican area or an area where they have registered Republicans. And if you draw the map so it includes more of Baltimore City, Republicans are thinking that you're going to all but ensure that the Republican is not going to get elected because, of course, this is a heavily Democratic area. So they want to keep the map in a way that the seats are not contested and they can keep the Republicans. So that's what the argument is about. That's what the back and forth is about. And that is why the election has been pushed back. They want to be able to agree, as hard as that's going to be, they want to be able to agree on the drawing. What area covers this district and what area covers that district? So lawmakers passed the bill with a veto-proof majority. Hogan's curious, like there's this whole thing. So the decision could further delay this year's primary in Maryland. Currently, the primary is set for July the 19th with the filing deadline of April 15th. As of now, this could get pushed back. Okay. This could get pushed back. Last month, a retired Maryland Court of Appeals judge who is hearing a similar challenge to the state's legislative district map ordered the primary be moved from June the 28th to July the 19th in order to have more time to consider the challenge. And it is not over. It is not over. It still is an ongoing thing. So I don't know how this ends, right? I don't know how this ends. I don't know if it is going to go down as far as the election when it has been decided. We shall see. The jury is still out about that. So speaking of jury, speaking of jury, the January 6th panel puts Garland. There's been talk about Garland. When Merrick Garland was, they were trying to put him on the Supreme Court, and Mitch McConnell and the Republicans blocked it, and Obama was trying to, put him on there. They didn't want to, have a hearing for him. And Garland has proven to be very, very, very shaky. Very shaky. Like, what does he do exactly? I don't actually see him do anything. I see him do a whole bunch of backpedaling. I don't know why Republicans didn't want to have him on the Supreme Court. He probably would have voted for their stuff. Like, he is so scared to upset anybody. He won't investigate nothing. He won't investigate nothing. Clear their crimes, clear and evidence. He won't investigate none of that because he doesn't want to make anybody mad at him. He's one of those guys that doesn't want to do anything, make any stand on nothing because he doesn't want nobody mad. So lawmakers are investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. They've been bringing to the public some very critical statements, court filings, and more. They've been delivering a very clear and blunt message to Attorney General Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice, who don't want to do anything. And they want to act like we're investigating. I mean, how much more investigating can you possibly be doing? They won't make any moves. Nothing's going to happen here. Because if something was going to happen, it would have already happened. What we're dealing with right now, what we are experiencing is called political theater. It's going to be a whole bunch of, it's just going to be a whole bunch of nothing. And that's going to be so frustrating. We talk about a precedent being set. You talk about Will Smith going on the stage at the Oscars and slapping Chris Rock. And if they don't do anything, it's going to set a precedent and people are going to think that they can do that. Well, if you have folks that run up in the Capitol of the United States and cause all kind of havoc, they had feces all over the place. They were breaking stuff. They were disrespecting the very landmark, the very place where the laws are made. If there's no real repercussions for those folks, I mean, I don't know. What is the purpose of the Department of Justice? Former President Donald Trump and his allies likely committed crimes, they say. And it is up to you to do something about it. They are talking to Attorney General Merrick Garland, and he act like, oh, I don't hear nothing. I don't know nothing. You know what I mean? They texting him. He don't look at his phone. They send him an email. He ain't checking his messages. Like he don't want to do nothing. I'm sure in his house, trying to figure out what they're going to have for dinner is difficult, right? So, you're married to a woman and you say, hey, what do you want to get to eat? I don't know. What do you want? Well, and she's not going to know, and he's too scared to take a stand. So he's going to be like, I don't know what you want to get to eat. I don't know what you want to get to eat. I don't know what you want to get to eat. And nobody makes a stand. Like, it's just crazy. This guy is a major disappointment. But the Department of Justice must do their responsibility, do their duty, do what you were elected to do or placed in office to do. All right. He wasn't elected. He was appointed and went through his whole process. But the rhetoric focused this week on 2 contempt of Congress referrals approved by the committee. So the committee is just that. It's just a committee. They don't have any real power, which is part of the problem and part of the reason why supporters of the former president disrespect them so much, right? They're just a committee, right? They don't have any real power. They're just investigating, right? They're just investigating to take it to somebody who has real power. And the people who have real power don't seem like they want to use it because they're scared that they're going to look like they are being partisan or doing something because they are enemies of Joe Biden. So instead of looking like we are punishing enemies of Joe Biden, they just want to sit there like a bump on a log and do nothing. And this is the guy that they wanted to put in to the Supreme Court. Well, I'm glad he's not in the Supreme Court. Let me say that. I am glad he is not in the Supreme Court. Man. So they are investigating what happened January 6th, most of which we saw on TV for hours and hours and hours. But they still investigate, right? Okay. So it's behind the scenes stuff, things that we don't know, all of that. And so they have subpoenas, they issued subpoenas, they've gathered information, they've looked at text messages, they looked at emails, and the Department of Justice is the only ones who can bring criminal charges. And I don't think that they're going to bring any criminal charges. The committee members see that the case that they're building against Trump and his allies as a once in a generation type of thing. All right. This is a once in a generation type of thing. But the Department of Justice is not going to do anything. I'm not even getting my hopes up. And I think that most Americans have accepted the fact that the Department of Justice is not going to do anything. It doesn't matter that there is a dangerous precedent set. It doesn't matter that these actions threaten the foundation of American democracy. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The Democrats are too weak and the Republicans are too corrupt, and everybody else is just sitting and watching this theater go down. Lawmakers seem nearly certain to send a criminal referral to the Justice Department once their work is through. They are telegraphing how this report is going to go. And the Justice Department is going to just sit and look at it. And they may do this. It depends. So if Congress turns over and Republicans get control, this whole committee thing is going to get shut down. And the DOJ is going to be like, we were just getting ready to do something, but we lost control. And now, they ain't going to be able to do nothing. They're just going to switch and flip. And then the Republicans are going to start investigating all the Democrats that were investigating them, plus Liz Cheney and Kinzinger. And they're going to start investigating them. And then they're going to try to impeach Joe Biden. They're going to try to do all these things. Watch how it's going to flip and just be back and forth. And this is one of the main reasons that folks get so frustrated with the American political system, because it's just a whole bunch of, okay, you go. Okay, now I go. Okay, you go. Now I go. And nothing gets done. They don't get anywhere. They don't get anywhere. Meanwhile, the gas prices get higher. Meanwhile, the cost of food goes up. Meanwhile, your pay goes down and your dollar stretches even less. That's what happens. That's what happens. And that's what's been happening. So lawmakers have been telegraphing what they're going to do. When this report comes out, they are going to refer that the Justice Department makes criminal charges against Trump and his cronies, and the Justice Department is going to do nothing. Garland, who has spent his tenure trying to shield the Justice Department from political pressure, he's in a tough spot. I'm not going to say now he is weak, right? And of course, it's Joe Biden's pick. So, of course, Joe Biden's going to pick somebody who is equally, if not more, weak than him, right? So he is in a tricky spot. I wouldn't want to be in the spot that he's in. But if I was in the spot that he was in, I would do my job. I would do my job. Any criminal charges related to January the 6th would trigger a firestorm. And he don't want the smoke. He don't want the smoke. It would really thrust the prosecutors back into this, partisan Democratic Republican crossfire. They would be on the chopping block. They would be on the hot seat. And it was very damaging to the DOJ during the whole Trump-Russia influence investigation and the email probe of Hillary Clinton. Yeah, it's not a good thing. But when criminals commit crimes, when have you heard the prosecutors say, well, we would prosecute them, but we don't want all that headache that comes with our job? Like, what if any job that you're on, what if you can say, a firefighter, I know we're supposed to put out the fire, but, it's really hot in there, and we don't want to go in there and do our job because it's hot and I don't feel like sweating. That's basically what the DOJ is doing. They don't want the smoke because of a crime that took place. It was a crime, and that's your job. That's your job. You don't get to pick and choose Merrick Garland when you do your job. Garland has given no public indication about whether prosecutors might consider a case against a former president. And I don't think that they will. They are scared and they are shook. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok at The Diamond K Show. Of course, onfiretelevision.com. On Fire Television is a listener-supported digital network. My name is Diamond K, and here on the program, we deliver the biggest political and trending news stories of the day with interviews and original reporting from across this country. The show is fun, the show is upbeat, but I also have to expose what is really going on. I give you politics from an independent perspective. If a Republican is wrong, I'm going to call it out. If a Democrat is wrong, I'm going to call that out too. You can join me weekdays right here, 6 p.m. on firetelevision.com, the Diamond K Show.com. We are a on fire television production. You can get the show on demand, the WRF radio app. Of course, our show broadcast over there, and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, of course, youtube.com/DJ Diamond K. Now, take a moment, as I said, download the WRF radio app in your app store. Leave me a comment. You can scroll your timeline, attend a Zoom meeting on mute, do some online shopping, all while listening to the Diamond K Show. And, it is not easy to do the kind of reporting that we do. I'm not going to say things that are necessarily the mainstream's thought. I'm going to call things out. And you can get breaking news, podcasts, TV shows that are covering topics that are important to our culture. OnFireTelevision.com is where you go to discover, engage, and connect with the latest news, podcasts, and our original programs. Right? And the Diamond K Show brought to you in part by jstoverbeauty.com. I want to talk directly to my ladies out there. If you're looking for those must-have beauty products, look no further. jstoverbeauty.com has quality wigs, Indian hair extensions, professional hair care products, edge control, flat iron mist, mink eyelashes, satin wig bags, wax sticks, lace concealer, and so much more. jstoverbeauty.com does custom wig making, maintenance, and revamp services. You can check them out on social media. J Stover Beauty on Instagram, J Stover Beauty LLC on Facebook. Be a girl with mind, a woman with attitude, and a lady with class. Visit jstoverbeauty.com. So we're going to close this thing out, man. It is so much going on. Later on tonight, 8 p.m., Brutally Honest Rap Show. DJ Concrete and myself are going to be reviewing hip-hop songs. You can check us out. We're doing this live on Instagram. So IG, Instagram.com/The Diamond K Show, Instagram.com/DJ Concrete, and then on demand here at On Fire Television. You'll be able to check that out if you miss the live feed. But the live feed takes place on Instagram, so you got to follow us there. And I really enjoy getting on there. We listen to records live, and then talk about it afterwards in real time. So you can do that. And as I said, check us out there on Instagram. So follow me at The Diamond K Show, or follow DJ Concrete on Instagram. So I'll see you guys 8 p.m. tonight for Brutally Honest Rap Show. Other than that, I will be back Monday, 6 p.m. with more of the Diamond K Show here at OnFireTelevision.com.